Blitz Esports releases new videos every week. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out.
Schalke 04 was the first football team from Europe to fully commit to the EU LCS and League of Legends. And when they joined, I was so excited because this was, to me, was the future and the next step for the European LCS. The football teams would join. One way or the other, I didn't care if they bought into teams or if their own logo was there or not, but the fact that Schalke committed was huge. Problem is they committed without knowing anything. And when Schalke joined in 2016, they pick up this Elements roster and they pick up the Elements infrastructure. And sadly for Schalke, because they didn't know any better, they thought it was enough, but it wasn't. And that team was doomed from the get-go. So you get super excited at the start of the split because Schalke joins. And you get super depressed 3 months later because this football club jumped into a new space, invested money, and then completely failed. And I thought they were just going to leave. I thought Schalke said, we're done. This is not for us. We're not going to spend time playing Challenger Series. But the fact that they battled their way through Challenger Series, back into the LCS, and never stopped believing and investing, that to me is a success story. And that is what a football club brings.
Against NIP to reclaim their spot in the LCS. The Nexus Towers.
Because it's not about the 1-year plan, it's about the 10, 20-year plan. Everything in Challenger and everything in the LCS around upset, to me is huge. It's a great statement from Schalke that they trust in talent development. They trust in a young player that, despite having failures, still had the potential to be one of the best. And seeing Upset with multiple different lineups finally qualify for the LCS, sign a 2-year deal with Schalke, just kind of confirmed that he became the franchise player for this football organization. And it's a perfect mix. He's young, he's talented, he's German. So then everything just fit together for Schalke when they signed this player. And when they didn't start building what I consider like a star lineup around him in 2018, I had super high hopes. We spent all of preseason and all of the first couple of weeks of the spring split just hyping up Upset and Schalke, saying he's the AD carry to watch. Sven has left us, he's gone. He's in North America. We need a new AD carry to challenge Reckless. And it's going to be Upset.
It's hit by Reckless. It's down to about 50%.
And it didn't happen in spring.
And he simply dies from poke and then the big...
He's extremely talented. And when you go and ask all the other coaching staff, they're like, he's extremely driven. He has a lot of motivation. This guy wants to be the best. And that's why he seems so hyped coming into the LCS.
So Spring Split Schalke, despite looking very polished in their announcement when the team was created and they started building infrastructure, still needed so many things. We have to look at Pride in the jungle, young player who sadly was not the right fit. He needed a team that would guide him around the map, tell him exactly what to do, otherwise he wouldn't do anything. They needed a leader. They needed someone yelling, hey, we're doing stuff now, we're fighting here, we're doing this. And they didn't get that in Pride. So that was definitely missing. They were a passive team. Nothing happened until one big team fight, then they would fail the team fight and they would lose. Another thing is the infrastructure behind them. They had the coaches, but they were missing sports psychologists. They were missing, a manager to be with the team. And they found all that for the summer split. Like, an unsung hero is the sports psychologist who's working with this team behind the scenes. He's on stage, he's the guy doing the pep talks, he's the guy making sure every player can perform. And that didn't happen until the summer split here. So I think getting rid of a jungler that actually was a liability and also finding more infrastructure, more staff around the players to make them succeed was huge. And once we got a team that had more synergy together, we said goodbye to the passive and boring Schalke in Spring Split. And we said hello to a team who understood when to fight, how to fight. And I think that's the main reason this team is now here in the final.
The man joining Schalke 04 as their newest jungler has reached the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Maurice Amazing Stuckenschneider. He's now returning to the LCS to reclaim some of that former glory.
I think the biggest thing Amazing brought was experience compared to a young jungler who had no experience whatsoever. I think Amazing is also a lot better at actually knowing what to do on his own. He doesn't need the team to guide him around 24/7, which made it way easier for Nukedog to play the game. He didn't need to constantly worry about his jungler. Those kind of changes were huge. Amazing were also a tank jungler compared to Pride, who wanted to be a carry jungler. And when you have Visichachi, Nukedog and Upset, you don't need a carry jungler. You need someone who's supporting the lanes, and that's what Amazing brings. So he was a much better fit for this team, and he was a much needed voice that they also needed. Even though he's not the main shot caller, he's still adding a lot more to the comms than what Pride did.
There's a Glacial Fizzer in the back end. A stun onto Joko. Steelback survives for now. The four-man stack of Schalke moves forward. Nukedog takes down Steelback. Nukes a lot. Gets taken down by a...
Nukedog is one of my favorite players of all time. I love everything about his story, entering the LCS in 2013 in the summer split, winning the regular season, sadly losing the final, going to Worlds, giving Faker Ari to pick Swain like a crazy madman, actually trying to make it work. And Nukedog back then was one of the best players in Europe. He guided his team around the map, he knew exactly what to do on Assassins, and he was the hardest player to play against when I was a player myself. Watching then Nukedog go from 2013, have so many rough years, you know, getting banned and getting on teams where he couldn't perform. The community started saying this guy's overrated, he's never gonna do anything. Still continue and still always get respect among the other mid laners because of his individual ability that he tried to show it so often, but he so rarely managed to win games and actually get to a final again. But seeing him just with this Schalke lineup now, I saw the same player I saw back in 2013 that individually could win you the game. And I also saw the player in 2013 that wasn't afraid to make big plays. I saw him again now in the summer split for Schalke, and that's why I started the hype train.
2018, Nukedog, you're back. Second time in finals, 5 years apart. How are you feeling right now?
Because it felt to me like this was a perfect setup for Nukedog to succeed. He didn't need to be the main shot caller. He didn't need to be the only carry because he had Upset next to him performing. And you suddenly start seeing a player that used to be a great carry return to that form. And I know that when Nukedog is doing well, he will make everyone around him better.
A little unsure. Nukedog thins out the poison of the Twin Fangs. He kills Attila. He kills Jazuke. And the last man standing is Kickers. It is only a matter of time. Schalke ace vitality.
And I think he's shown that this split, which is also why I'm sad that I ended up leaving the hype train in the semi-final, because I thought Vitality would shut him down early game. I thought they would shut down Amazing early game, but it didn't happen. And that's just full credit to Schalke and Nukedog for getting into this final. But it was tough against Fnatic, and it wasn't an individual thing. Because I think what went wrong for Schalke was their mid game, they make mistakes. They overextend a little bit. They look for a fight maybe they shouldn't, and Fnatic is the best team in Europe at punishing you, and they're the best team in Europe at team fighting. So the moment you give them an inch, they will take the whole thing. So I think Nukedog actually performed very well in this final, but you need the entire team to play at the absolute top level to beat Fnatic.
Now, when you look at this moment in your career, is this the peak? Is this the highest level that you, Nukedog, have ever been on as a professional player?
I mean, even if it was to be the highest, it's still not the peak, you know, because the peak is the top, so we want to go further. You know?
When Schalke rejoined in 2018, everyone looked at them. It's the football club that stayed, it's the football club that invested even more money. They tried to build what they considered a super team. And when they fail in the spring split, people are done. People are ready to say this will not be a good year for Schalke. But watching this redemption story in the summer split has actually made 2018 probably the best year possible for Schalke. I think Worlds is the last thing for them right there to say this is everything we hoped for. They make a final. They play against Fnatic. They go to 4 games in Madrid. People are cheering for them and they're going even with the best team in Europe. And I think they will get there. And I think when they do, we will all look back and say, Schalke, you were the big surprise, but you deserved all of the success.